I'm Mindy, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my wrap up for the first half of December. I have read 3 books in the first half of December, and 2 of those books were on my November TBR. So I read 2 November books and 1 December book, and plus some stories out of this, which I will have a separate update for the second week of December. Stories I read for Ghosts of Christmas Past, Resurrecting a Tradition, a book event that I am helping co-host, which was created by Revenant Reads. But I'm going to tell you about the 3 full books that I finished in the first half of December. The first one was Savage by Richard Lehman, and this was probably, I think this is the only one that is completely out of the normal Richard Lehman style. This was a historical horror novel that has Jack the Ripper as one of the characters, the antagonist, and our protagonist is a very likable young man. Oh, and having a very likable main character to follow was a great thing. It made it much more enjoyable than any of the other books I've read by him. It takes place partially in England and then also in kind of Old West times in America. And it was a lot of fun. A great book. Big adventure. And I gave it 4 stars. I read Savage for the Year of Layman, hosted by Slime and Slashers and Secrets Read, and this was the November pick. The second book I finished was The Butterfly Disjunct and Other Stories by Stuart C. Baker. This is a short story collection of science fiction stories with a bit of fantasy, and this is put out by the small press Interstellar Flight Press, which I really enjoy their science fiction, fantasy books, and they've even put out horror poetry, and I've liked what I've read from them. This collection had very short stories. They were really thought-provoking, and I liked most of them. There are a few that got confusing, but for the most part, it was a great collection with a lot of really interesting sci-fi themes like AI, time travel. There were some dystopian futures. It was a very speculative collection of what our future could look like in a lot of very different ways. I really liked the collection and I gave it 3.5 stars. And the only book on my December TBR that I finished in the first 2 weeks of December is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, which I read for the I'm with the Band book club hosted by Reading This Life. This is the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I read the first book with the group as well. This one I liked a whole lot better than the first, actually. I don't know if that's the consensus with the group, but there were not the weird things that I didn't think made sense or drove me a little nuts as there was in the first book. I think it was better. However, I don't know if that's because I read the first book physically and I read the second book with audio, and the audio is really, really good. I think might have increased my enjoyment. Fantasy book with fairies and romance, and I like where the story is going. I actually gave this one 4.5 stars. The first book I gave 3.5 stars, so that's quite a bit higher. And my favorite book I've read so far this month. And that is a varied group of books. Only 3, but I had 1 horror, 1 sci-fi, and 1 fantasy. And I am reading some really great books right now, so hopefully I will be telling you about how I finished them at the end of the month. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I will be back very soon with another book related video. Thanks. Bye.